This screencast will show you how to set up your gradebook in PowerTeacher for the school year. So first you have to be in your gradebook. If you don't know how to access your gradebook, please see that video. Once you're in Gradebook, click on Grade Setup. Now the first thing we're going to change is how the student's average is calculated for the entire year. So down here there's a bunch of folders. We're going to double click on this one that says Y1, and then you're going to get a menu that pops up. All of these other folders are within Y1. Y1 stands for the entire school year. So this X1 and X2 stands for semesters, and this Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, those stand for the quarters or marking periods within those semesters. So all of these are within Y1. So again, we're going to double click Y1. You're going to get a menu down here. You want to make sure you have term weights selected. If you have something else selected, just go ahead and click on term weights. So first we need to tell PowerTeacher how to calculate the student grade for the entire year. So let's say you're a 6th grade math teacher and you want their grade to be determined 25% for each marking period. So right now you have X1 and X2 down here, and that's all. But if you expand these, click on that little arrow and expand these, you'll see the other marking periods. Now, if we want each one to count as 25% of their total grade, just go ahead and double click here where it says weight, and we're going to make it 25 points out of 100. Each one of these, 25 points. 25 and 25. And then if you click back on all of these, you should see that each one is now 25% of their total grade. Now, if you're in the high school level and you have midterms and finals that factor into their total grade, you may have other folders here and other options. So that's going to be up to you and your supervisor how you are going to determine those, whether they're 20% for each marking period, that's 80, and then 10% for final, 10% for midterm. That's up to you, but this is a very simple and common setup that I'm showing you right now. Now when you're finished setting this up, you always have to click Save down here. Now if you forgot to click Save and you start clicking on other things, it's going to prompt you to save it anyways, so it'll be fine. Now that's for the whole year. Let's talk about within each marking period. So click on Q1 up here. Double click Q1. And again, we're going to see this menu. Now we want to talk about the category weights within that marking period. So under category weights, make sure you have that selected. Click on Add Category. First we have to add the categories before we give them weights. So click on any of the categories that you use in your class. Maybe you don't use all of these. I'm going to add these first 5. And then I'm going to click OK. And as you can see, it added them to this drop-down menu here. Now, your particular weighting for your class, your subject, should be in your curriculum, which you can access on the W drive. If you're not sure what your weighting should be, or if it's not specified in your curriculum, reach out to your supervisor and they can help you with that. I'm just going to make up some weights here. Let's say I want my class participation to count as 10%. I want my homework to count as 20%. Maybe projects as 30%. Quizzes as 10%. And maybe tests as another 30%. And if you click back on these percents, they should adjust. Now again, those are hypothetical weightings here. Yours might be different. There's also the option over here, which is pretty neat, to drop a low score. So let's say I want to drop the lowest homework grade every marking period for my kids, which obviously you'd have to check with your supervisor first to make sure that's okay. I would double click over here where it says drop low next to homework and enter, let's say, a 1. Okay, and hit enter. PowerTeacher will automatically find their lowest homework category grade and take it out of their average and exempt them from it. So you can do this for the other categories if you want. I'm just going to go ahead and click 0 and put it back to normal settings. When we're done, we want to click Save. Now, we don't want to bother to do this for every single one of those 4 marking periods. That was only for marking period 1 up here. So what we want to do is use this copy button and copy it to the other 3 marking periods. So I'm going to click copy. I'm going to click Q1 only. Hit OK. And now select the checkbox next to Q2, Q3, and Q4, and then click Next, and then Finish. Now if I select Q2, Q3, and Q4, you can see that the weightings have carried over, and those same percentages that we entered in Q1 are now in Q2, Q3, and Q4, so you don't have to set up the rest of them. Now that we have this entire history class set up, remember we were just in this history class, if your weightings for your other classes are exactly the same, we can now copy over this entire class that we set up to these other classes. So go ahead and click back to Y1, click on copy, and now we want to copy the entire class. So we're going to click OK. And now it's going to let you select the other classes that you want to copy it to. Now, if your US History 2 class, for example, you wanted the test to count as 40%, you were going to do things a little bit differently, you weren't going to drop a low homework grade, you can unselect those and do those individually. But I'm just going to copy all of these, click Next, click Finish, so now if you check back on your other classes, go ahead and click on another section and double click their Y1 and just check over their term weights, make sure their term weights carried over. Click on any one of their marking periods, make sure the category weights carried over, and they should have. So now your gradebook is all set up for the year and ready to go.